Hello, everyone. It's another Redmond's football report one. Only a Super League reaction video. If you've not heard of the Super League in Europe, you might be thinking, "Oh, it's the Super League in India." It's not. It's in Europe.
So, seeing as we haven't had a chance to talk about it and it all kind of exploded last night and I didn't want to fill his head before going into school, I thought it might be a good idea to have a talk and tell him about what's this Super League thing
Yeah.
and see whether he thinks it's a good idea or a bad idea.
That's what
He is also having a tea cake for the first time. Show them what a tea cake is. A chocolate covered thing. Take a bite into it. That's a combination of things. Well, that's a very fancy looking tea cake.
And the inside looks like that.
Marshmallowy stuff and biscuity stuff. So.
Oh.
So the.
That's cream.
Yeah. It's tasty though, isn't it? Okay. So the Super League was announced kind of like about a little bit earlier than 24 hours ago, as this is something that's going to happen. We're going to announce it this evening. And then at about 10:30 CET, I think it was officially announced. And then at, I think, 12 hours 30 or midnight 30 CET, more details came out about it. Do you like that? Mm-hmm. Would you do it again? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. UEFA, in response to word of this, said that the clubs involved would be kicked out of European competition immediately and that they would be kicked out of their leagues immediately with a view to, or that the various FAs would kick them out of their leagues and that if they were to come back, they would have to start in the fifth tier. So, who is involved in this Super League? What is it? What's going on? What do you know about it, Redmond?
Well, it's a thing. There's different teams from different leagues, like Europa League, even Champions League, and no Super Cup. That's the name. That is the name.
And what were you very anxious to make sure that people didn't think that the Super League was?
In India.
Yes, the India Heroes Super League, which is the top tier these days in India, is a different thing. Take the finger out. This is in many ways closer to what the Premiership wanted to do. Some people are talking about it in terms of MLS. I could talk about it in terms of the League of Ireland. First, let's look at who the major clubs in there are going to be. Now, this is a nice little graphic I picked up on Marca
today.
So
you can see there's Chelsea, there's Liverpool, and AC Milan. We have Real Madrid. We have Tottenham. We have Manchester City.
No, it's not
Manchester United. Juventus, Barcelona, and Manchester City. You have Arsenal, surprisingly, from the Europa. And we have Atletico Madrid.
Yes, surprisingly from the Europa, it is indeed Arsenal. Right, indeed, of these clubs, three of them are supposed to be in the Champions League semi-finals. In that you've got Chelsea playing, I think, Real Madrid, and Manchester City were meant to be playing Paris Saint-Germain. If, as UEFA says, they're out of European competitions, the Champions League has been by default won by Paris Saint-Germain. So there's news.
Well done, Paris Saint-Germain fans.
Provisionally speaking, we don't know for certain yet.
And not for certain.
In the Europa League semis feature, among other teams, Manchester United, and who's in the other semi?
Arsenal.
Arsenal, that's correct. So with both them gone, the Europa League final is the last European final remaining this season. Theoretically, we will see what happens. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be between Villarreal and Roma.
I think it's going to be Roma.
I hate to say it, but I'm really, really excited at the prospect of a Villarreal-Roma final. That's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there.
What is meant to happen is UEFA today were meant to announce the new format for the Champions League, which was going to give major teams, which we will be looking at some of them here, who have not qualified for the Champions League, they would be given a backdoor into the Champions League.
What?
Yeah. So what UEFA were going to do was if, for example, Arsenal and we'll say
Manchester United?
no, they're looking likely to qualify. Arsenal and Tottenham were to fail to qualify for European competition for the Champions League. They might be able to get a backdoor in,
A back
and this was helps to be. This was one of the ideas that Cheferin, the guy who's running UEFA, has been developing with Andrea Agnelli, who is the chairman of Juventus.
Yeah,
He was a UEFA vice president, and he's also the president. Sorry, was also the president of the European Clubs Association. What were you going to say?
Well, if this goes on for a few years, maybe Ireland might be able to maybe like some big teams who just had an error with that thing might actually in a back seat into. It's like a booster seat into.
You're thinking of the Europa Conference, which has already been announced and going ahead. If anything, it's going to mean it's harder for teams from places like Ireland to get into the Champions League.
Yeah,
Redmond.
and it's just going to be it's going to basically be like a booster seat for every other team.
Well, it'll be
for
a
the big teams.
Boost for the big teams, but not for the small teams.
That's the sad bit.
Yeah. So the that was meant to be announced today. It was announced today, but what they did was they announced yesterday that they're setting up their own league, the Super League, which is meant to be a 20-team league with two groups of 10 or something like that. Again, it's a little bit airy-fairy. They have 12 teams, and these are going to be permanent teams. They can never not qualify. Even if they're doing really badly in every other league, they're automatically in the Super League.
Like even if Liverpool falls to the second league,
they would still be in the Super League. That's right.
It's like magic for the other teams in the
Super League.
The Super League.
So what's going to happen is these 12 teams, plus in theory 3 more are meant to be announced. But I have a feeling that some of them might have been scared off today, because I would have expected Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain to be announced, possibly Porto. What's been rumored has been Porto, Bayern, and Red Bull Leipzig.
And
you're not listening as much as talking, but you may talk.
If the Super League is lucky, they could actually invite Roma.
They won't, though. Why? That's what I'm getting to. You need to listen now and hear what's going on rather than tell everybody what you imagine would go on. So these 12 teams, plus presumably the other 3, whoever they might be, would be permanent. 15 teams that never get relegated, never fail to qualify. The other 5 teams you could, in theory, qualify to get in. So yes, maybe Roma could get in, but they'd be there for a year. Please stop fiddling with that. I know you want to fiddle. No, please stop fiddling with that as well. I want you to listen. So the other 5 teams that would be in the Super League would basically qualify. The main teams, the main 12 or 15 teams in the Super League, would have bags of cash. They would have the vast majority of the money. If you were Roma, Redmond, and you qualified for the Super League, and then you got to the final, and I'll explain the format in a little bit, you would get less money than, say, let's pick on Barcelona. If Barcelona didn't qualify from the group stage, you would end up with less money even though you won it. Because there's a minimum amount of money that all the founder members get. So it helps the rich get richer, and the poor will be staying quite. The less rich will be staying less rich. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, let's say Dundalk and Shamrock Rovers. They're not going to be able to get in that thing.
Oh, you have no idea how far off an Irish team is from this.
It's gonna just be. It's just like a ball that's bouncy enough so they can bounce back. It's like every time with Ireland, they just can't get in.
Not entirely sure what you're saying it makes any sense. Either way, the format will be that these 20 teams, which is these 12 plus the three other ones, plus whatever five qualify, will play in a group of 10. And they'll play each other twice in that group of 10. And eventually, the top, I think it's four in each, go through to quarterfinals,
Only
semi-finals, yeah, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and a final. Presumably two-legged until the final. Who knows though? Again, I haven't the exact details in front of me. So that's how it would run. And then the following year, whoever qualifies gets to play in it, and whoever didn't presumably fall back into European.
Just really cool. These teams that already got in here.
So you support some of the teams that are in here. Who do you support?
Well, let's start with Chelsea, Liverpool. We have Juventus.
No. Who do you support? What are the teams that you like in these?
Um,
What are your three favorite teams that are in here?
Well, we have Juventus, Liverpool, and I gotta say Chelsea.
No, you don't. You've always said this team.
And Barcelona.
You like Chelsea because Christian Pulisic is in it, yeah? Yeah, the American player even.
Yeah.
I have long had some time for Juventus, and I go to say I've spent far too much time to say anything other than I am a fan in many ways. So we get to this interesting distinction. There's a lot of people very upset about it, and there's people saying that you should support your local teams, and those of us who are supporting big name teams like Juve and what have you. Well, we are being felt sorry for, and we should ditch these teams and what have you, and that's something we might discuss in a little bit. Put the tongue back in.
And this really is not a main mattering league. Like, if you won the Champions League, you would be like, oh my gosh, how did I get that? But in this league, you'll be like, hey, we won it. Not bad.
I think the idea is the money in this is so huge, Redmond, that this is preferable to the Champions League.
Yeah.
So, firstly, do you think this is a good thing?
Ding.
Yeah. Why?
Because it's just letting, these teams get bags of money and making them richer. That means they can get like some basically real stadiums. Unreal.
Redmond, we visited some of these stadiums and they already are unreal, are they not?
Yeah, they're really big, but they can make them better and
even better than Juventus's new stadium, even better than the Wanda Metropolitana for Atletico Madrid, even better than the Bernabeu.
They're all great stadiums, but
you think they can be better?
Yeah.
Okay, what's another thing that goes with them having extra money?
Well, they can get better players.
They can get better players than the best players in the world.
Well, they could basically get they could get someone from Roma, some great players from Roma.
Okay, they kind of already do that. Carry on.
And it's just going to make more better players in their squads.
So more better players in their squads.
And also, I have to say, better training equipment, better medical equipment, and I think that's really it.
So you're saying that one of the big benefits to all this extra money is that the clubs who have all the best players in the world will be able to buy more of the best players.
Yeah.
That the clubs that have the best training facilities in football will be able to have better training facilities.
Yeah, and very good
and better health facilities as well.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. What about the other clubs?
Well,
what about the small clubs?
They'll get their own money.
Where will they get their money from?
Well, winning their leagues.
Now, what these teams in the Super League want to do is they want to play in their own leagues during the weekends, and then on the weekdays, on like Tuesdays or Thursdays or Wednesdays, they'll play in the Super League. So, does that mean that smaller clubs are going to have a better chance of winning their home league now? Especially if they're playing in a league where there are 6 teams in the case of England, who, as you say, have more of the best players and more of the best facilities and more money.
Yeah, little teams would actually get better chances of winning and get like bigger a bit, like this much, not that bigger, but they'll get a little bigger because they're going to have better chances because the other teams are going to be like busy on the weekends and on the weekdays. I mean,
Okay.
and they'll only
I
be
think you're
playing,
getting a little confused.
and they're going to basically only be playing on the weekends. And that means they basically every Sunday and Saturday they'll have a game, like like a few games in those 2 days. Like
Okay.
that's a lot of games in like 2 days.
Yeah, personally, I suspect that the teams in the Super League are hoping that they don't have to play their own leagues,
Yeah, just
because if
one.
if they're going to be playing, I mean, let's face it, these big clubs would rather play 20 games in a season, or 20, what would it be? 25 games in a season, 25 competitive games in the season rather than the current, for example, in England or Italy, 38 league games plus then cup games, plus then European games. So I don't know if they're actually going to be all that excited about playing their home leagues, but we will see
And
what
they
happens.
might not be. They might be more bored of that Champions League.
Well,
They
they
might.
probably won't be playing in the Champions League at this
Oh,
point.
we're getting a viewer.
Yeah, we have viewers on and off.
Yeah.
But stop the squirming. We're going to wrap up soon. Things I will say. The money should ultimately trickle down if the big money is being spent on players. If they play in their leagues, there's a chance that there might be increased home sale ticket sales, but I suspect that's not necessarily going to happen. It actually suits these clubs to be kicked out of their leagues in so many ways, I think. My suspicion is, even though they've been kicked out of everything, and I think that might actually stick in European competition, I expect in 6 weeks UEFA will make a deal with the clubs so they can be considered legitimate and what have you, and they can have their part of this Super League money. And yeah, my big take home, if I've got one thing to say, is I'm not going to say stop following clubs. I'm not stopping following Juventus. I'm not stopping watching Barcelona play with delight and glee. They're gorgeous clubs to watch because they have the best players and they have the most money. This is not about making football better. This is about making money, but it may may lead to good football as a byproduct. However, what I would say is support your local team.
Yeah.
Who are you wearing? What's your shirt?
Blue Velocity.
Yes, he's in the academy. Support your local team, your home team. Even if you've never gone before, get out and follow Waterford. And yes, Waterford have problems at the moment. That we all know that. But support your local team. Get out, whether it's Shropshire City or LA Galaxy or whoever.
Just get out, play some football.
Well, get out and support your local team as well as playing football. Continue to enjoy the big name teams,
And
whether it is Manchester United or Salford City.
like,
You know, whoever you enjoy watching, but
Rangers.
you don't need to be spending. Never mention that club again here. You don't need to be giving gobs of money over for kits to the people who run Real Madrid or Chelsea. You can find plenty of places where you can get shirts. As you may have seen worn by me repeatedly, you'll find plenty of places where you can get shirts that are available without having to pay full price or even directly to the club in question. If you get a chance to go see them play, always go see good football if you can. But
and always,
if you're putting your money where your mouth is, for every one Arsenal game you travel to, go see 6, 10 local games with your local team, wherever that is. It's going to cost you a lot less than a single ticket to Arsenal.
yeah.
And I'm not going to say it's going to be better football, but it's going to be more personal.
And more
family oriented, not
Yeah.
necessarily, but perhaps depends on your club. But I don't know what they're going to do in terms of deals and what have you for watching these games. I have a feeling it's going to be premium a go to watch these games. But you know, support your local team. Be a fan of who you want. Don't let people tell you that you can't be a fan of Atletico Madrid now that they're in the Super League.
Or you
No,
can be
you enjoy which players you want, you enjoy which teams you want,
and
but
enjoy
support your local team.
team.
Okay? So that is our takeaway on this cheeky, cute boy. I don't. My face doesn't need to be on this. Just that thing at all.
I am the center of attention.
Always other side. So, what am I going to say? Redmond. Let's. We're back tomorrow at 18 hours CET to do our usual broadcast with our previews. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's talk that the leagues are going to be suspended. So we don't know what's going to happen.
What's suspended?
Suspended means stopped for the time being. But there's plenty of other leagues that have plenty of great football on in them, and we also have our results. I don't know why you're holding your nose. Do you want to take us out, Redmond? Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Bye, everyone, on Redmond's Football Report, and also support your local team.
Okay, folks. See you hopefully tomorrow evening.
Bye.
Bye.